hot air balloon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was sent that went off course.
Yeah, that wasn't that big of a deal. I think the Pentagon made a bigger deal out of it to do propaganda, to be like, look at China, like they're fucking coming after us.
Well, what do you? Okay,
That's what I think.
Because they said like obviously like it was a
we
weather
need
balloon
some
that went.
propaganda.
What?
We need some propaganda.
I mean,
right
dude,
now.
I just like.
But Hasan, think about this for a second. It was a weather balloon that went off course, a surveillance balloon that went off course.
Mm-hmm. And
that's the equivalent of me. Hey, I'm on my way to your podcast, but I accidentally took a wrong turn. I'm in Arkansas. Like, bro, it's not possible. What course was it on?
No.
That it ended up over our nuclear base in Montana, bro.
If you first of all,
What?
Balloons have very limited control on what kind of flight
float
path.
out of little girls' hands.
Yeah,
bro.
exactly.
This is a fucking floating surveillance lab over our nuclear facilities.
That's what
Hasan.
I'm saying. So what I'm about to tell you is probably going to freak you out way more than this, but like China already is spying on us in way better ways than a fucking gigantic balloon. TikTok.
Yeah.
That's one. But that's more of on a personal basis. Like, bro, TikTok is so powerful as far as like all the information that they have of you that like they know what you want before you know it. Yeah, okay, so like if they want it, they're like, hey, Big Mike, let's take a look at Hey Big Mike. Let's see if he thought about fucking eating chocolate on Thursday. That means that he's also interested in this. Like they have shit that you don't even fucking know about yourself. But beyond that, there are conventional surveillance techniques that all big superpowers use on one another.
For sure. That
they could easily get away with. That doesn't like, if you want to do espionage, if you want to do real surveillance, you don't want everybody to fucking know.
Correct.
Like, they just put, usually we use balloons as well. America uses balloons as well for surveillance every now and then. Oftentimes over like a field of war or something. Yep. Never really usually on like civilians. And as far as like Chinese technology goes, they do have some Zeppelins and balloons and the like, just like we do. This is like experimental tech because they can stay afloat for a way longer time with no refueling capabilities. So like it's fine. They have satellites.
The thing about the satellites is they don't, because of their distance, they're not able to produce from an angle standpoint the same type of intel back to the satellite. Secondly, but they have a balloon at that height can pick up things like heat signatures from silos. It can pick up all kinds of things that a satellite cannot pick up. So while I understand that,
it's not just satellites though. I was gonna say, like, one, they have satellites. Two, they can, and the United States government utilizes this all the time. They just use Cessnas. A lot of time, that's just what they do. They just like fucking put a Cessna, strap the camera underneath it, do a quick flyby, boom, boom, you're out.
Like a hired contracted Cessna through a shadow,
or even lower altitude in comparison to the balloon. The balloon is at 60,000 to 90,000, lower altitude, private jet. You put a fucking camera under the private jet. Who the fuck's gonna know? Some Chinese billionaire's gonna be flying over. What are you gonna do? You don't know that. You can't, because like it's on the right flight path. Let's say, all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. It's they snap whatever the fuck pictures they want to snap. So they have a lot of capabilities beyond if they want to do espionage. And the reality is, wait, hold on. I think the food is here for you, March. Sorry. Doors open.
I think I saw Amber Rose in front of your house. I'm not kidding, dude. She may still be out there. There was like a Lincoln, dude. If you look, I think there's Amber.
Thank you.
Yeah, she really might. If Amber Rose is in front of the house, bring her in. I want her input on the Chinese water balloon.
It would be way spicier than his.
Amber Rose's opinion?
I'm telling you, she's out front, dude. I saw her, dude.
No,
global tensions are at the point that there is only one way to move forward, and that is that we get a new Rocky movie where Creed fights a Chinese boxer. Like Rocky IV.
I could see something like that solving the problems. For sure.
I think the Cold War ended because of Rocky IV.
That's probably what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we came together as people.
My favorite thing is watching like everyone collectively freak out. I just think it's interesting, but I think people forget a lot of time that like we are doing the same shit, dude. Like,
we're doing way worse.
Way worse. I was gonna
say,
I didn't want to say it, but like honestly, like Like, they'll come study our nuclear facilities, right? Like, whether it's them or Iran or whoever wants to get intel. We'll take their facilities offline. Like, we'll literally upload malware into their systems and be like, yo, you're going down for a
They're
few
getting
days.
pretty good at that too. China actually, as far as like China being a threat, I mean, I am definitely what most people would consider a China sympathizer for many different reasons. But most importantly, because I
Really like Chinese food?
no, I really like high-speed rail. And I think that...
Bro, that can't be a good enough reason
No,
to
I think-
sympathize with...
Okay.
By the way, really quickly, the superpower that we are at war... Like, people talk about Russia. They're talking about this country, that country. U.S., China. That is the playing field. That is the only playing field. There's no one else in the game.
I'm obviously
bro.
critical of China, of course. They do a lot of superpower shit that the United States does as well. Maybe not to the same degree, but they're trying. They're trying their best. What I like is that I like the concept of Chinese prosperity. That is a both cultural value and also like a system of governance, basically. One thing that they do regularly is they'll just have like there'll be like a billionaire that sold low quality baby formula, right? And some babies died. Execution. Straight up. They're like, oh, that's sick.
So you like the accountability.
I like that they do implement accountability. Obviously, I'm not a fan of capital punishment, but like there was chaos.
You want somewhere between capitalism and capital punishment. Like, you want like a medium between the two.
Well, one other good example is like, for example, so first of all, the corporations in China are beholden to the government. They work at the behest of the government. In America, our government is beholden to corporations. And I think that corporations being beholden to the government, especially if the government is still maintaining some level of interest in like uplifting the lives of every citizen evenly as possible, I'm a fan of that, because our subsidies are the ones who are fucking funding every part of our agricultural production anyway, but we can't get any return on that shit because they can do whatever the fuck they want. They can make the price of milk as high as they want, dump out the rest of the milk, you know what I mean? Destroy supply. Eggs too.
You're not giving me any insight, by the way. Like, you're a socialist, dude. I know where you stand. Like,
I'm not sneaking this by you.
No, I know all this stuff. And by the way, like, I love the conversation. I think it's a very intriguing conversation. One thing I like is you do a very good job of arguing with just facts and stats and just conversation. I don't like how we can't talk about stuff without anger nowadays. Like, can we just like talk and I could hear your side, you could hear my side. And guess what? If we leave and we innately or strongly disagree with each other, who gives a fuck? Go on with your life. I'm going to go on with my life, and that's it. Like, I try to
show that to my audience regularly, because like there are a lot of people that are very serious about their political positions, and I understand that. And there are, of course, some kinds of fucking assholes out there that like you don't fuck with, that you don't want to be friends with, that you know are like kind of bad people. I know you hate Steven Crowder, for example. He's a great example of this. But like ultimately, if we're talking about normies, if we're talking about normal individuals, like there are going to be a million different things that you guys disagree on, and yet you can still maintain like a level of friendship with these people. Yeah, without like immediately assuming that they're like a fucking fascist or some shit.
Right.
Especially because like the way I understand it, I think a lot of Americans are or everyone is a product of the systems that they grew up in. And all these people, especially on the left, they're always like, oh, the system is white supremacist. The system is fundamentally like, right wing or whatever. But then they don't recognize that, like, of course, the motherfuckers that are born and grown into it are going to have those values. You know what I mean? It's just, it takes a while to unlearn that shit. Anyway, this is a non-political podcast.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know why I came out swinging like that. That balloon, dude. Like, I just
really
was so
with you.
stressed out by it, bro.
It really stuck with you.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that, like, if that was a legitimate threat, first of all, they were tracking it over Alaska. You know what I mean? They were tracking it from the moment that it fucking, started flying. So NORAD tracked it from the jump. I'm a firm believer that if it was a legitimate threat, if it constituted some kind of actual threat,
they would have took it out.
They would have fucking taken it out over Alaska.
What scared you about the balloon?
I think like, just like growing up, you have this and it is a privilege to be able to say this. Growing up,
live in a balloon.
No. Growing up in America, we have a innate sense of homeland security that exists as a result of our coastlines, and the idea of any foreign superpower having any kind of aircraft or device floating over our homeland.
Yep.
Is a scary thought, and I think it's a scary thought for all Americans to imagine that that's possible. I mean,
for me, it's just such a non-story because it's like
that can't be possible. There's no way.
I'm with him.
I like thinking outside the box, but for you guys live here, and like whatever your thoughts are on it, the idea of any other country that very much feels like an intrusion. It feels like an invasion.
Yeah, an invasion of our an invasion of our airspace.
Do you know what happens if one of our military aircraft crosses 100 feet over the line of the no-fly zone into China? God forbid, over the China mainland. They have an imaginary line that they draw. I forgot the name of it. That they consider to be the border zone of their land.
There's an
island chain, and
there's
it's called
also
the dotted chain or dotted line.
There's also contention over that too because they're building artificial islands as well, expanding on that no-fly zone. China also routinely does like flyovers. And North Korea does flyovers, or not flyovers, but like North Korea does like intercontinental ballistic missile testing too over Japan. So like that's a big point of contention, military exercises of that sort.
But imagine if a U.S. aircraft of any kind, balloon, plane, whatever, actually went over mainland China. Like an actual route over. It would be considered a hostile act, and that aircraft would be shot down.
So that actually was a balloon.
So that actually does happen.
If it was the kid from Up. Like,
no. It does. What you're talking about happens quite frequently, as a matter of fact. And that's precisely why all governments, whether they're warring with one another or not, whether they're engaging in a proxy war, whether it be in Ukraine or in Syria, are actually in constant communication with one another. A lot of people don't know this. There is a communication system between Russia and the United States of America to ensure that the United States is always aware of every Russian flight pattern. They're not able to give it to Ukraine. They claim that they don't give it to Ukraine. And Americans are feeding their information to Russians for that reason, so that never actually happens. No crossover happens. As soon as that balloon reached U.S. airspace, they were already in back and forth communication with the Chinese government, which is why I'm saying it's like a little bit more like the media's more aggressive approach to the story is the unusual part of it. Yeah. The fact that there was like a surveillance balloon or a meteorologist, like a weather balloon crossing over into our airfield is not that unique.
I'm going to be honest. Maybe it's just the nature of a balloon. It's so whimsical.
I agree.
But like when I also
it was a little guy. Little guy, he's up there.
When I also weighed against the fact that everybody in the conversation has nuclear missiles, and if they actually wanted to buck static, we'd all be dead already. I just don't give a fuck. I just don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, but okay. Moving on.
Did you know they used to use balloons in World War II?
Yes,
Japan
to drop.
Yeah,
bombs.
Japan used to firebomb U.S. civilian territories with balloons.
Yep.
And that was actually a very serious thing at the time because they were like, "What the fuck? What do we do about this?"
What the Pacific seaboard? Right?
So 6 people died. 6 civilians were killed in a firebomb attack. That was the most successful one, and the government actually covered it up at the time because they did not want to create additional panic and a sense of
Isn't it funny how things have changed so much where it used to be, let's protect our citizens and have them continue to live the way of life that they are used to so they can continue to be, efficient civilians, to now mongering is the way.
Well, because
let's drive further.
One is the government and one is
the media. Yeah, for sure. You're right.
Well, also, no. The media is in unison with the government on this one. I think the warmongering comes from the military-industrial complex in general. But the reason why we do that now is because we are more safe here in the continental United States than ever before. And the reason for that is because one was World War II, where the United States was like, a powerful industrial force, okay? But post World War II, especially after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that's it. That and all of the efforts that the United States engaged in the years to come against the USSR basically solidified that this was America's world. You know what I mean? And that's precisely and Rocky IV. So for that reason, like the warmongering is to just generate more weapons. Like they fucking do. Come on, we have like $800 gazillion in our fucking defense spending. You think we're fucking a balloon is not gonna?
A lot of money.
Yeah.
Gazillion, that's
You think a fucking balloon is gonna be like a serious issue?
Dude, you